Scott Conkright, and welcome to the Meaningful Happiness Podcast, where we talk about feelings, affects, the biological basis of emotions, and all those things that have to do with making life meaningful and happy.
Alina, a young woman known for her intelligence, lived alone in a quiet village hidden by mist. Every day, she wandered into a nearby forest, not for the trees or for the birds, but for a mysterious mirror hanging on an ancient oak tree deep in the woods. People whispered that this mirror could reveal one's deepest desire, but it was cursed. Those who looked into it would get lost chasing what they saw. But when Alina looked into the mirror, she saw nothing except her reflection. Frustrated and eager for answers, she kept going back, hoping that one day the mirror would show her what she truly wanted. One evening, as the sun set, a mysterious man arrived in the village. He had a strange vibe, dressed in black with eyes that seemed to see right through everything. He called himself Leo, and he spoke of distant places and forgotten wisdom. The villagers kept their distance, but Alina felt an irresistible pull towards him. Leo noticed her interest and invited her for a walk. As they strolled through the forest, Leo asked her about the mirror. Alina hesitated, then admitted that she saw nothing in it, no dreams, no desires, just herself. Leo smiled as if he knew exactly what she meant. The mirror shows you what you're missing, he said, but in your case, it reflects the void within, a craving for something undefined, a yearning to yearn. Alina and Leo started walking together every day. As the weeks went by, she found herself more and more drawn to him. He spoke in riddles and seemed to understand things she could not grasp. Yet, even though he fascinated her, she also felt uneasy, like something important was missing between them. One day, Leo handed her a small, ornate box. He said it held something precious, something that could fill the emptiness that she felt. But when Alina opened the box, it was empty. Confused and hurt, she looked to Leo for an explanation. Love, Leo said, is giving something you don't have to someone who doesn't want it. Alina did not get it. She felt like she had just been tricked, given an empty promise. But Leo insisted that the box was full of her desires, fears, and the emptiness she had been trying to fill with her visits to the mirror. That night, Alina returned to the mirror, clutching the box in her hands. As she stared at her reflection, something shifted. She no longer saw emptiness, but the box she held. She realized the mirror had been showing her the truth all along. The void she saw was her own, something no one else could fill, not even Leo. The mirror wasn't her problem. It was her tool for understanding herself. She went back to Leo, a mix of anger and sadness in her heart. You gave me nothing, she said, and you expect me to be grateful. Leo nodded, because I gave you the realization that love isn't about possession or fulfillment. It's about sharing your vulnerability, your emptiness, your missing pieces with somebody who might not even want them because they're dealing with their own. Alina was quiet, slowly beginning to understand. The love that she'd been searching for wasn't about completing herself or finding someone to fill her void. It was about the courage to share her emptiness, flaws, and fears with someone who might reject them. In that sharing, something real was created, a connection based not on fulfillment, but on the mutual recognition of each other's humanity. The next day, Leo was gone, leaving no trace except for the empty box and the memory of their conversation. Alina, changed by the experience, no longer visited the mirror. She stopped trying to fill the void within her, realizing now that it wasn't something to be filled, but something to be shared. The villagers noticed a change in Alina. She was no longer the distant, untouchable beauty, but more open, vulnerable, and real. She learned to give her love not in the hope of getting something back, but in the understanding that love is an exchange of what we're missing, with the knowledge that it might not be wanted. This flipped the traditional idea of love on its head, showing that it's not about fulfilling desires, but about the act of giving. In the end, Alina found peace in this, embracing her void not as something to fear or fill, but as the very essence of what it meant to be alive and capable of love. Years later, when people talked about Alina, they told the story of the woman who found love in emptiness, who learned that the greatest gift wasn't what she possessed, but the courage. Who learned that the greatest gift wasn't what she possessed, but the courage to give what she didn't have to someone who might not even want it. And so, the legend of the mirror in the forest lived on, but its curse was no longer feared. Instead, it became a reminder of the paradox of love, that we find true connection in giving what we lack to someone who may not even desire it.